is up, guys? What's going on? Welcome to another edition of The Battleground. Today we are doing Best of Horror. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to be doing a debate show. If anybody doesn't know, this is an apples to apples, Cards Against Humanity type of game show where we debate. Everybody here has a minute to debate the best of the best in terms of best horror movies, best horror directors, best horror movie villains, monsters, you name it. We're going to break it down and have a lot of fun, guys. If you are watching, please be sure to comment and trash talk and grade everybody's selections. It's going to be a ton of fun. And that being said, so how does this work? Everyone gets 60 seconds. Then we're going to give everyone 30 seconds for a rebuttal to say why they're wrong, why they're completely full of shit, and I will pick the winner. Whoever wins that round will then be the judge to pick and judge the next category. The first one to get 3 victory points gets the W. So let's get rolling. Guys, I got to lead off with the best horror director. Who is the best horror director of all time? And I'm going to throw it to my man, Gabe. Gabe, you're up. The clock starts in 3, 2, 1.
I think we need the best horror director would be John Carpenter because he redefined the genre of Halloween so many years ago. And the thing that he has going for him is that he didn't stick to the horror genre. He had some horror classics like The Thing, but he also extended to action films, comedy, and Big Trouble in Little China, which is also action. Like, he extended a lot, and he created a subgenre within what is known as horror. And I don't think anybody has been able to get out of under the umbrella of horror like he did. He's historic. Halloween, I mean, it's being relevant today, even though, recent movies kind of take some of the, things that don't need to be there and kind of extended it a bit too much. But the way he made that film, the way he created suspense, the way he made you feel as if you were within the killer's point of view and the victims at the same time has been unparalleled. And everybody, Wes Craven, other people might come up, took all the influence from John Carpenter.
All right, time is up. John Carpenter goes to Gabe. Let's throw it to Brad. Brad, you're up, man. 1 minute is on the clock.
All right, so he took John Carpenter. I mean, John Carpenter's obviously one of the GOATs. I'm going to have to go with James Wan. James Wan directed one of my favorite horror films of all time, Saw. It's just such a creative movie. I mean, the idea of the movie is he wanted to create like as little scenes as possible to keep the budget down. So he basically just stuck people in a room and said hey, you got to cut off your own leg, and put people in these not realistic situations, but you have some empathy. And then he also, later in his career, he came out with The Conjuring and he came out with Insidious, which are probably 2 of the scariest movies of the 20th century. So, I mean, I think you got to give him some props for that. And I think James Wan, he's one of the GOATs. And that's all I got to say.
All right. We have James Wan to Brad. We have Luke saying, I'm going to go with John Carpenter for best overall director. James Wan to Brad. Ryan, you're up. Who's your best director?
All right, I'm choosing Wes Craven because my man directed the first ever live action version of Swamp Thing. Didn't work out well. So what did he do? He haunted your fucking nightmares with Freddy Krueger. Man, who fucking slept after those movies? I would gotta say, Wes Craven also reinvigorated the horror franchise with Scream. Scream is easily one of the top 5 horror films, maybe the top 1, the best horror film of all time, because it not only parodies the genre that the creator created in with Nightmare on Elm Street, but he also took itself very seriously. And you know what? Because he haunted our nightmares, but also was able to make fun of it in a very realistic way with, oh my God, I blanked, Scream. Scream 5 is coming out, and that is going to be in his favor, so I leave it at that.
Major player there with the Wes Craven selection. And then we got Formal. You're on the clock.
All right, so I can't believe that y'all let this go. Seriously, respect to the other ones, though. I will say this. Alfred Hitchcock is the ultimate director when it comes to horror movies. I mean, there are rules when it comes to his movies that he has come from. And not only did he create these really intense horror movies. Those movies are still watched today, and the techniques that he used in those movies, people still use today, and some people screw around with and it doesn't work. But he has a stamp on the horror genre as one of the scariest directors of all time. There's a reason why Psycho's still up there. The Birds, North by Northwest, all these movies not only are really intense as a thriller, but also they have scary moments because he knows how to mess with the psychology of his audience, not just on jump scares.
Well said. All right, time's up. All right, so now what we're going to do is give everyone knows everyone's picks, and this is the time to trash talk against everyone else's pick and say why you're right and they're wrong.
My favorite part.
30 seconds. 100%. Gabe, you're up. 30 seconds. Go.
All right. First, Brad. I mean, James Wan is pretty good in horror, but for one, the original Saw does not hold up, and two, everything that he's done that is not horror has been pretty mediocre. Like, you know, he just did another Fast and the Furious and the interchangeable sequels. He did Aquaman, which is just not great. And then Wes Craven, Ryan. Wes Craven hasn't done, I mean, he passed away, but before he died, he never did anything that wasn't horror. All he did was horror, and
You're
then
out.
he did.
You're out.
Oh.
Ryan, you're up. Go.
Gabe, to your point, he stand by horror. Horror was his life. Horror is everything he cared about. And I gotta agree with you. I'm sorry, Brad, but the first Saw I love dearly, but it doesn't hold up as well. And James Wan only really did The Conjuring 1 and 2 that were anything a part of that, or even better, I would say. So I gotta say everything else that Gabe said pretty much spot on. And Alfred Hitchcock is more of a suspense guy than a horror. Psycho, when you're watching her get stabbed, are you ever scared? Because I'm fucking not.
One more, you're up.
All right, so the thing about like James Wan, I mean, like Gabe said, like Rye said, like honestly, yeah, he has one really okay movie, but then that franchise kind of fizzled. And then, I mean, Wes Craven, he's making fun of the cliches and then just doing the exact same type of cliches in his movies. Really, and the thing is about Hitchcock, it doesn't matter about whether it scares you. It's about the psychology. He knows how to mess with the mind of his audience. That is the biggest part of what horror is.
Stop talking. You're up, Brad. Go.
You're muted, Brad.
Can't hear. Hold on.
Sorry.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
I want to give you 30 seconds. Hold on. All right. Ready, set, go.
All right, I definitely got to agree with everybody on Alfred Hitchcock. I really don't think he is a horror guy. I really think he's more of a suspense dude. I mean, I respect him because he's made some really great movies, but I really don't put him in the horror category personally. And also, I'm not a huge fan of Scream, so I probably wouldn't have leaned on that as my crutch for Wes Craven. I probably would have leaned more on the original Nightmare on Elm Street personally.
All right. There we go. Time is up. Come on. Get out of here. There we go. All right. So I've got some interesting choices, and I got to go with my main man. Brad gets the W here. James Wan is one of my favorite directors of all time. What's important to note about James Wan is all you had was Paranormal Activity, terrible slasher movies, back to back to back for years until James Wan came out and said, no, I'm going to give you quality actors. I'm going to give you a great story. And I'm going to give you shit that's going to make you not sleep at night. James Wan, he started 3 franchises that are major: Insidious, Saw, and The Conjuring. 3 of my favorite. I don't like Saw, by the way. But 2 of my favorite movies of all time. But by the way, James Wan, and screw you, Gabe, for talking shit on Fast and the Furious, because I love Fast and the Furious.
I need to appeal.
No,
It's about his
you
argument.
said
not
Fast and
yours.
Furious. That's you're gone. You're like immediately gone.
One interchangeable movie about cars. That's what it was.
100%. This is how we roll. This is how we roll here on Battleground. Luke says Wes Craven did 1 drama movie, which was Music of the Heart. He also did a horror comedy, which was Vampire in Brooklyn. So Brad gets the W. He gets the victory point, which means he is the judge of this next category, which means you pick and let me know when you want me to start the timer, and you get to pick who goes first.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm gonna go with most disappointing horror movie.
All
And
right.
I will pick. Let's go with Gabe going first.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Wait, give me 1 second to think. Give me 1 second to think. Just 10 seconds. Because I'm having a second. Okay, I got it.
3, 2, 1, go.
Well, I'm gonna go with 2018 Halloween because that movie had everything allegedly going for it. They had a bigger budget. They have a decent director. They had Jamie Lee Curtis back. Then they had a chance to do something new, something different. Like, you know, that franchise had been done to death. There's all sorts of sequels. There's good ones, there's bad ones, but mostly they're bad. And then they came in and they just did exactly the same thing. The same thing, but just without the crazy gore that you get in the Rob Zombie movies, without the crazy like cult stuff from the sixth one, without like any of the innovation of the third one. They just did like the most basic Halloween sequel with no great moments, not memorable anything. We all want to see the next one, sure, because it kind of, you know, brought back the interest in the franchise, but not in a good way, not a great movie. So it was really, really disappointing. I don't like that movie at all.
All right, time is up. Who's up next, Brad?
All right, let's go with Ryan.
Hell yeah. All right, baby. I'm going to go with the very first Resident Evil film. I mean, the Resident Evil games are instant classics, bro. Quote me on that because it's already quoted. Don't lie on me. But this movie takes everything away from the survival horror. This film is against survival horror. It's super it's not only depressing, but when you look at it compared to the games, it's just that action heavy, bang, 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 just shoot 'em ups. No character really feels relevant. No character is likable. When all the characters die, you're like, wait, can you just kill them any fucking faster? Milla Jovovich is really not a good leading woman or leading actress or just even an actress in general. My God. Hellboy 2019 first of anyway, not the point. And Paul W.S. Anderson, bro, the only two good films on his record, and they were before this. So it takes everything what we loved from the Resident Evil game franchise, turned it on its head, and just turned them into a shoot 'em up bore fest.
Ooh.
That was good.
That was well done, Brad.
Really good.
Let's go with Formal.
Sucks.
Formal's up, go.
All right, so my most disappointing was Paranormal Activity and all of the movies that followed. All of those movies are absolute trash. Because here's the thing, all it is a jump scare. It's so effing predictable. There's a slow scene and it's just like, okay, something's gonna pop up and go slow. Oh, there it is. There it goes. It's so predictable. Every scene of that I could predict happening. It honestly became more laughable than anything. I just couldn't like watch it anymore because it just got so repetitive. And then in the sequels, I mean, come on, like that, it's the exact same thing, but I'll focus mostly on the first one. So, again, the first one is just, yeah, I'll say if anything, yeah, kind of original, but honestly, it's just repetitive. It's the same thing. It's trying to go off the Blair Witch Project, but not in a successful way.
Formal is off the clock.
Luke's right, by the way. None of the Resident Evils are good.
No.
They all suck.
They're all terrible.
suck.
They're all terrible. What's the opposite of instant classic? I think that's the answer there.
Unfucking bearable classic. That's what I'm gonna call it. Unbearable classic. It doesn't have the same ring, but it's fine.
All right, I am on the clock. And I'm going to go with a movie. I'm going to show my age a little bit, but I'm going with M. Night Shyamalan's The Village. I think the biggest thing was that this wasn't advertised as like this like super slow drama. This was advertised as this like monster horror movie in the trailers. And I remember seeing it opening weekend, and I remember being so extremely disappointed with the part that was so anti-climatic. The Village is like a textbook example of how marketing can ruin a legit movie. It was truly a simple drama. It's a lesson how expectations can shape our, view on a single movie. And man, I'd rather sniff 20 Aquaman sweaters than rewatch The Village by M. Night Shyamalan. It is absolute garbage, other than the amazing film score, which is really, really strong. But The Village, M. Night, The Visit was awesome. This was a major miss, one of the major misses by M. Night. I'm going to go The Village. All right, Brad, But we have a rebuttal time. So who goes first?
Let's go with. I want to hear Formal first.
Formal, go.
No, I couldn't. I blacked out. Can we rack it up because I didn't know I was going. Sorry.
All right, ready, man?
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
All right, so I'm gonna go down the list. One, Resident Evil. It's a video game movie. Do you really expect those movies to be that great at the end of the day? Okay, an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Honestly, that is not even his worst movie. Like there was a movie that he came out with that was rated R, and it was the worst thing ever. And M. Night Shyamalan, his movies are meh. Like some of them are good, but that's really it. They're not that great. Even Signs is kind of overrated in my opinion.
All right. Oh, I forgot there's one. All right. Who's next?
Let's go with Gabe.
Okay, one, how dare you say bad things about The Village? The Village is fucking awesome. It's a great movie. Paranormal Activity, all your points are valid. I like it, and I can see how you wouldn't like it because of it, but that doesn't mean it's disappointing. Disappointing means that you were expecting something better and you didn't get it, which goes to Ryan. Resident Evil, yes, was disappointing. I was also frustrated, but it's also kind of fun to watch it on rewatch when you know how bad it is. It's just a stupid movie, so the disappointment's kind of evened out.
All right, time's up. Gabe, what did you pick again?
Halloween 2018.
All right,
That's what it was. I forgot.
All right, we're gonna go with Ryan next.
Ryan, you're up.
Gabe's just wrong, like per usual, so why listen to him? Mr. Crockpot, come on, man. The Village isn't the worst Shyamalan Ding Dong movie, bro. I love that dude so much. But you know what, Village or whatever. Paranormal Activity, man, come on. It's an instant classic, bro. It scares the shit out of you, but just because it scared the shit out of you enough doesn't mean it was disappointing.
Time is up. Time is up. I guess that means I'm up. Let's go. M. Night Shyamalan, The Village, was absolutely horrific given what he gave us before that. And I understand the crafting is god-awful. But come on, Resident Evil, no one ever expected that movie to be actually good. M. Night movies, they're actually really strong with Sixth Sense and everything. And Times was amazing. Times was really good. So I will agree with Formal that, James... I lost that. It's so hard, man.
It's hard talking good about a disappointing film.
Yeah.
Like what the hell? Like what can I say? Because some of you, oh my god.
I just want to add, like we have Luke saying Paranormal Activity 1 through 3 were good. I was going to say James Wan was so good because he kicked the Paranormal Activities, the found footage movies out the door and said, "No, son, mine is better," and that was why James Wan is the shit. Brad, who won?
Okay. All right. You guys gave me some good options here. I'm going to have to go with Formal, though. Yep. I really dislike the Paranormal Activity series.
Yes!
I have no idea how they did an entire franchise off of that. But yeah, so I'm going to have to agree with Formal here.
Formal gets the W. Damn it.
Did anybody see the last one where they have like the CGI
Yeah,
monsters?
bro, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
That's the marked ones, I think it was called.
No, the
that was
marked
the fourth
ones.
one.
No, it was the Ghost
Dark
Dimension. The Ghost
yeah,
Dimension.
it was like something Dimension. Yeah, it's fucking awful, dude.
All right, Formal, you get to pick the category.
All right, I'm gonna pick this one because I don't want to do it. So we're gonna do funniest horror movie.
All right, you go first, man.
All right, Deebs, you go first.
Me? Shit, man.
Yeah.
All right. Funniest horror movie of all time is 100% The Cabin in the Woods. I don't know if you would call this a horror movie, but for the sake of it, I'm gonna say it. Cabin in the Woods is more of this like fun romp than kind of like what Scream did, just reinvigorating the genre back in the 1990s. It's a horror movie about horror movies. It's self-aware. It's a ton of fun. It becomes a real masterpiece there in the final act. The duo of Richard Jenkins and Bradley Whitford are absolutely hilarious. The scene where the main character is getting beaten down by the zombie, and by the way, you see what they're going through. They're having a party. They're having a blast. It's so much fun. It is absolutely hilarious. It's a masterpiece. It's a straight up masterpiece. If you haven't seen The Cabin in the Woods, the last 30 minutes, absolute masterpiece. Absolute masterpiece. The Cabin in the Woods is the funniest horror movie of all time.
Third time's the shot. You got this.
Shot, man. I've been drinking.
I cheers to that.
Cheers. All right, who's up
All
next?
Brad, you're up.
Oh, all right. Let's see. I guess I'm gonna have to go with Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Damn.
I really like the story of having like two hillbillies that are basically just like, you know, going through the trials of a horror movie. So yeah, that's probably gonna be my pick. I can't really. I was kind of unprepared for this, so I can't really delineate too much on that, unfortunately. My choice was Cabin in the Woods, so I kind of got stolen there.
Tell us a joke. Tell us a joke.
All right, Cabin in the Woods, and then Tucker versus Dale against Evil. All right. Who's up next?
All right, Gabe, you're up.
Gabe is up.
All right.
Go.
All right. I mean, this should be a mic drop, but Evil Dead 2. What's wrong with you? I mean, it's hilarious. It's not only a horror comedy, and it works as that. It's a parody of the movie that preceded it. Like, it's a parody of Evil Dead. It's a parody of modern horror. It's incredibly gory. It's like super like low budget, cheap. So it has that, you know, beautiful charm of like cheap horror. It features a great performance by Bruce Campbell. There's a chainsaw arm. Like it's a combination of B movie tropes. You put them in a blender and then you put a lot of horror in there. And then you have Sam Raimi has like a big brain for these kinds of like creative stuff. And it just comes off great. It has a cliffhanger ending that's just insane about him going to the Middle Ages. And it's just, spoiler alert, but it's just a mix of things. It just works so well. And it's hilarious. Like, it's really, really funny. And it's scary too.
All right, which means Ryan, you're up, man. Go.
I agree with Luke in the chat. Shaun of the Dead is actually one of my favorite films of all time. I love this film. It adds something new to the zombie horror genre. It takes all the tropes and makes fun of them yet again, but he makes it self-aware. I'm pretty sure this is Edgar Wright's first directorial debut, but this also came from a comedy sketch in Simon Pegg's TV show back in the UK, whatever. And I really do enjoy the chemistry between Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. They have this awesome, friendly, love brother bond. And you even see that once he becomes a zombie, he uses him in the back to play zombie video games with him. I mean, what's not to love about it? And dude, I love the whole idea of going to a pub to sit it out and just get absolutely hammered and just drink yourself through the zombie apocalypse. And not only is it one of the funniest horror movies, but it is one of the best horror movies of all time.
All right. Who gets the rebuttal first? Formal.
We'll just go in the same order. So, Deebs, you're first.
All right. I mean, Cabin in the Woods, man. Cabin in the Woods is a movie that understands completely what it is. Just like Shaun of the Dead, which is absolutely great selection, Ryan. I'm not going to fight against that one. But similarly, these movies understand what they are. They understand what they want to be, and they are so fun. You walk out of that theater, you love it 100%. The other two movies, sorry, Gabe. Sorry, Brad. I didn't see them, and I really don't care. So, I mean, as a horror buff, that means something. So,
All right. Next up is Brad. Nope,
he's muted.
But he's muted.
Sorry, guys.
Hold on, Brad. Hold on.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, man. All right, and go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna hold fast on my Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I think it's a really witty movie. It's kind of that blend of like horror and comedy. I mean, Cabin in the Woods. I mean, I think that's a great movie. However, I think Tucker and Dale versus Evil is just a little better. I think the hillbillies kind of do it for me. So I gotta plant my flag.
Who's up next, man?
All right, Gabe.
Okay, well, for one, Shaun of the Dead is pretty good, but Hot Fuzz is better. So I don't know what to tell you. It is. I mean, but it is really funny. But no, it's not the best in its own series. The other two I haven't seen, but I'm sure they're really unfunny. And to be fair, like none of them would exist if it weren't for Evil Dead 2. Like that is not like a hot take or anything. Like Evil Dead 2 began this horror comedy genre as we know it today, and all your movies were influenced by it.
All right, time is up. Let's remove this. Who is the winner, Formal?
Oh, Rye hasn't
Wait,
done
I
rebuttal
didn't
yet.
get my rebuttal.
Yeah.
I gotta roast Gabe. I gotta roast Gabe.
Ryan, you're up.
Wait, am I going? All right. Hey, wait. Gabe, by the way, Evil Dead 2 might as well be called Evil Dead 1 because they're the exact same film. Cabin in the Woods make me wish I was in the cabin woods alone and got eaten by those fucking zombie monsters. And Tucker and Dale is too on the nose to actually be considered horror or actually funny. So I rest my case.
Oh, that's it. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. I gotta
Nothing
go.
about- Yeah, sorry. I was just gonna say nothing about Hot Fuzz being better.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. It's in my top 4 of all time. Fuck you, Gabe.
I gotta go with Gabe
No!
with Evil Dead
Got
because
it.
Sam Raimi I think has hit like the perfect of horror and comedy. I think in the best way.
Damn it. All
Well,
right,
no one
Gabe.
brought Drag Me to Hell, but
I was gonna do it, but I was like, nobody's gonna have seen it. But I love Drag Me to Hell.
yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah,
It's
it's so
hilarious.
good.
All right, Gabe, you're up, man.
Oh shit. All right, let's do. Okay, well, let's break your brain with best horror movie moment.
Ooh. Oh, we have Luke saying Shaun of the Dead is better than Hot Fuzz.
Ooh.
So Luke is coming in hot.
We said best horror movie moments, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So who goes first, Gabe?
Let's go with Ryan.
Fuck. Okay.
Go.
Best horror movie moments is obviously at the end of Saw 7, the final chapter, which really isn't the final chapter, but that's completely besides the point. The whole concept is within that story, a man lies about being in a jigsaw trap by putting these nails through his nipples and having to lever himself up and pull a lever to get his wife out of like a dungeon burning trap. And little did we know, it was literally just a surgery scar and he lied about the story. But at the end of this film, he literally has to put 2 hooks through his nipples and do the exact same thing he lied about. But as he was about to save his wife, both his pectoral nipples and chest just ripped open in this bloody, gory fashion and accidentally killed his wife in a fiery, bull-ridden asshole. And I am not joking. It wasn't a bull's asshole and stomach. So look that up. I rest my case.
All right. Time's up. Who's up next, Gabe?
Formal.
Formal, you're up.
All right, so it's got to be the opening scene to Halloween, the original. That, I mean, it's done in the vision of honestly, the culprit of the movie, like Michael Myers. You learn who this character is. He's an insane who was pretty much a monster at this entire like movie. You learn who he is just by this short little clip. And what's really cool about it is that like when you watch it again, like he's wearing a mask obviously the entire time and he's actually Michael. But then when he actually kills his sister and then comes out and the mask is removed, he's actually no longer Michael and he's now the monster that has been created. And this character has been used multiple times and he's the reason why like so many people are like afraid going out like on Halloween, because like there's a guy that could possibly like stab you and everything like that. And it's done with this really, really honestly low budget look to it. And frankly, that's why Michael Myers again is really great. And so is Halloween. I rushed that at the end, but yeah.
All right. Who's up next, Gabe?
Brad.
All right. So I am going to go with the Alien franchise, and I'm going to go with the original Alien movie. I think the moment where the alien originally pops out of the chest, I think that's one of the best horror moments of all time, or the best horror moment of all time. Because I mean, you prefaced it with like the face hugger, and like he's hugged up against the dude's face, and you think everything's okay, and then all of a sudden everybody's just kind of enjoying a dinner on a spaceship, and then all of a sudden like it's like popped out of his chest, And I mean, that is like that's the birth of like an entire franchise that has like terrorized people for decades. And I mean, they're still, I don't know if they're still making Alien movies to this day, but I mean, that's a franchise that spanned like 30 something years. And that it all stemmed from that moment pretty much.
Unfortunately, they're still making them.
Hey, I'll take all the Alien Predator movies I can get.
All right, we've got Alien from Brad. Formal, what was your moment in Halloween?
Yeah, the opening scene to Halloween.
Oh, and Ryan, what was yours?
The pectoral muscle being ripped at the end.
Why are you saying the word pectoral so much?
Because that's what it is, sir. It's a pectoral muscle.
Well, no, honestly, what was it?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Saw 7.
Saw
7. Okay. Yeah. All right, I just got to be sure. All right, I am on the clock, right? So I'm going to go a little personal here, and this is like the single most iconic movie moment for me, at least, was the clap in The Conjuring. And I've got a personal story to it as well. It was a moment that when you saw it opening weekend, it scared the shit out of you. It doesn't rely on torture porn. It doesn't rely on CGI. It's what makes James Wan such a great director. It gets in your head. And when we came home that night, we walked into our apartment and pitch black, and the attic door was down. We have no idea how that door was down, and we shat ourselves to sleep. And the entire night, my wife and I were going. It was so much fun. It was so much fun, and that is the definition of what a James Wan movie is. He might not hit on every single movie, but they're going to be entertaining, they're going to be memorable, and The Conjuring sticks, and so does the clap scene. All right, who is going to rebuttal?
Same, Ryan first.
Go.
When to go.
Oh, sorry.
All right, so Gabe, if you want to be basic and choose one of the 3 basic films that these 3 fellow gentlemen chose, be my guest and choose them. But if you want to go for something more unique and different, and yeah, Saw is a little bit controversial, but that's fine. And last time I checked, when does clapping your hands actually scare a person? Because if that scares you, man, I'm sorry that scares you. But you know what? Halloween is just pure basic bullshit. Oh, a kid killed his family. Ugh. At least it's not his boobs being ripped out of his chest.
Time's up. Who's up next? Same order, right? I forgot.
Go let Gabe breathe. Bro, you sound like Jared Leto's Joker.
That's how
I forget. Gabe, who's up next?
Formal.
Go.
All right, so Ryan, you destroyed your argument by saying like it's the final chapter. It's not. Saw is honestly forgettable, pretty much really after the second one, if that. Okay, and then Alien, arguably not a horror movie. I don't think that actually works because honestly, leading up to that, it's not really that like horrific. And honestly, with The Conjuring, frankly, you just told it. You just said it was so much fun. That is not a horror movie. Michael Myers is the boogeyman that like scares people to death to this day.
All right, Brad, you're up.
All right. I mean, I'm a huge Saw fan, but honestly, the pectoral muscle being ripped off, it was pretty forgettable for me. I honestly didn't even remember about that scene until you had reminded me of it. So I don't know how that's like iconic. And then also the Michael Myers one, I'll give you that because that was actually my second scene that I was gonna pick. But hey, Alien is definitely a horror movie through and through. I'll plant my flag there.
All right, so I'm up. Ryan picks a movie that no one has ever seen. The Saw franchise absolutely sucks. Sorry, Ryan, it's terrible. All right, Halloween's a really good choice for him, no doubt about it. Brad, no. What James Wan did is what makes it scary. Is it's relatable. It's things that could actually happen, whether you're with your partner, whether it's with your friends, you're having a good time. Torture porn sucks. It's about what actually could happen. A ghost could be right behind you at any moment. That's what's scary. You're wrong, guys.
Whenever I want to scare you, just remind me to just clap in your face.
Oh shit! What happened?
Jesus Christ, Ryan!
That was fucking
Bro, I got
funny.
you. I'll always scare you. Don't you worry.
All right, Gabe.
All right. I mean, based on the arguments, even though it's not my personal choice, but based on the arguments, I think Brad took this one like really easily. Ryan, you picked a forgettable moment from a
Bro,
forgettable
that's why I
movie.
didn't want to go first.
and-
I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head.
You should have picked the Hello Step from the first one.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You said the word pictorial too much. Formal, you picked what I would have picked, but I don't think your arguments were good, and they took it down pretty well. Knives, you too. I mean, Ryan said, "What's scary about a clap?" I thought it was fucking funny. No, they took you down. They took you down. Yeah.
Just
It
want to
took
say,
me
I do
out.
think Alien is a horror movie. I'm just letting the record show of that. I just use that as my argument.
And I will say, The Conjuring is way scarier than any movie listed just now. So, period. That's not even complicated.
I mean, probably to our eyes, but back when they came out, these movies were way scarier.
To you, maybe, sir.
Yeah, horror is subjective. That's why this
Yeah,
is fun.
horror is
Yeah,
subjective.
I mean, I
Brian.
agree with you. The Conjuring scared me more, but anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so you just agreed on your just whatever. So
I said
anyway,
it wasn't my choice. I said
Brad, you get to pick the category, man.
Let's see. Did we do most overrated horror movie?
I don't think so.
No, we
Not
didn't do
yet.
most overrated.
Actually, let's go with worst horror movie monster.
Oh,
worst.
Yeah, worst.
Oh, snap.
Worst,
Don't make me go first.
worst as in scary, like
that's
intimidating
for you to
or-
choose.
Your opinion. Your opinion.
Your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, however you wanna argue that. I mean, I personally, I would say worst is like cheesy or like poorly made, etc. But I mean, however you want to argue it.
Can I go first?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, we're going live. Here we go. I'm going to go The Happening, The Killer Trees. I'm going to go with this movie, which is so bad that M. Night thought that these trees that would, release a toxin and kill who they want to kill were just absolutely terrifying. M. Night actually thought that the sounds of like the wind and the trees, which are several shots of this movie of trees, just legit trees, just standing there, was absolutely horrifying. This absolutely is the worst movie monster of all time. The fact that you have like Mark Wahlberg and Zooey Deschanel, and they get spared because they're in love with each other. There are so many flaws with this movie, top to bottom. The killer trees in The Happening are a joke, man, and it's just hilariously awful from top to bottom. This is right up there with like the best of the Sci-Fi Channel. I'm gonna go The Happening, Mark Wahlberg, Zooey Deschanel, M. Night Shyamalan. All right, who's up?
All right, let's go with Ryan.
Am I going? Oh, okay. So, oh my God, the worst. Okay, I'm just gonna go with the Swamp Thing, bro. Back when Wes Craven made that film, it was fucking atrocious. I'm sorry,
Oh.
they can try and defend it all you want, but dude, it literally looked like they plastered the dude's body and threw fucking seaweed on him and said, "Woo, scary Swamp Thing monster! Congratulations, guys! You have won for the least amount of effort put into a fucking costume that was supposed to look somewhat horrifying, but you failed so miserably that you know what I said? I'm like, I'd rather cuddle with that thing, not fucking scary. So if I have to cuddle with the monster, it's not scary. Point made, point served. Hope you like it.
Fucking Ryan, this has been really funny.
We have The Cannibals in the Green Inferno. I didn't find it all intriguing. Swamp Thing was made to be like that. We'll get into that very soon. Who's up next? Brad.
Let's go with Gabe.
You're up, Gabe.
All right, I'm gonna go with the goblins from Troll 2. For those who haven't seen Troll 2, it's a beautiful movie about a bunch of goblins that turn people into plants so they can eat them. But the goblins are just like people with literally like Halloween costume masks. Like, you buy them into your local store and just put them in a bunch of people and they walk like this. And they're supposed to be like intimidating or something, but it's just not. And then they try to make people eat like green food that turns them into plants. But it's easy to get rid of it. You just don't eat it. And then a kid pees on this is pees on the food. There's like this whole bunch of things. It's just like cheaply made. Poor actors that had to go through that. they're offset by another villain in the movie who's like a witch that just comes out of nowhere and just like or something. She at least does something with the scene, but it's just so hilariously bad that it's got to be the worst. They're also goblins, and their movie's called Troll 2, which is really confusing because there's no trolls in the movie.
All right, which means Formal is up. You're up, Formal.
All right, so I'm gonna go with the aliens from Signs, and the reason is because here's the dumbest concept behind it. Okay, these things are apparently so intelligent that they know their weaknesses, so they go to a planet that is made of majority water. Do you understand like how unintimidating of a monster that is? And frankly, I mean, these things are supposed to be so intelligent and like legitimately just kind of be superior beings to us that are so scary, but their weakness is water. When I was a kid, I watched it, and it kind of creeped me out because it was aliens and naive. But as an adult, rewatching that and like actually seeing these things their weakness is water. Why'd they come here? Like that's honestly just not scary at all.
All right.
Oh,
Time
I
is
got
up,
good
which
one.
means rebuttal time. We have Luke saying, "What about the overused CGI zombies of I Am Legend?" Absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Like it takes your emotion completely out of it. And then and Cora goes, "They're eating him, and they're gonna eat me."
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Like, bro, you deserve to die at that point.
It's so great. It's so great. All right, Brad, who's up for rebuttal?
Let's go with Ryan first.
All right, boy, I gotta say, bro, if you stop breathing, I'd be scared of oxygen too, because you need oxygen to live. Fuck that point. But you know what I gotta say to that? The little trolls in Trolls 2 are pretty horrifying because of the poorly made design on those. That actually make them somewhat horrifying, Gabe. And you know what? You scare me even more. And you know what I gotta say to that, Formal, about being scared of water? You know what, bro? Water does kill us. What if you drown? That's being killed by water. Last time I checked, I'm afraid of drowning, bro. I'm sure you are too.
All right, who's up next?
That was hard in 30 seconds.
Let's go with Formal.
All right, here's the thing. Like, honestly, when it comes to the happening, like that's not even a physical monster. It actually tries to be like, honestly, a message about humanity. That's the only thing that's a plus about that. When it comes to the rest of Trolls, I mean, that was honestly the forgettable, but like, I mean, at least they're kind of monstrous a little bit. But again, when it comes to aliens, they're supposed to be these things that are intimidating. All I got to do is legitimately throw water on them and they're going to go running. That isn't scary even a little bit. Yet I'm supposed to be scared of this for this movie.
You're out. Who's up next?
Let's go with Gabe.
Okay, people need to stop crapping on the happening that it's not scary. Imagine everything around you. You cannot stop breathing. You can't do anything because it kills you. It's the scariest monster of all time. Nothing would be scary. The movie's stupid, whatever. Unrelated. Swamp Thing, the name itself is stupid, so of course it's going to be stupid. Formal, I always thought the aliens there, for them, water was fire to us. So there's fire around us in the world, but it kills us. The water burns them, so it's just an opposite of humans.
You're
It's
out. You're out.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, Ryan, you're full of shit, man. The Swamp Thing was made to be campy and cheesy. That's what was so much fun about Swamp Thing. The trees. Like you said, Gabe, like, you want to talk about, Ryan, like, drowning? You can't live on the planet without air. What is more scary than having trees literally going, "You're dead, fuck you, you're dead, you're cool, you're dead, I'll fuck your mother, you're dead." Period. Trees win.
But that makes them the best monster.
I really want to see Trees say, "I'll fuck your mother." That's really what I just want to see.
Was it Mark Wahlberg who was in Pain and Gain? He's like, "Say hello to your mother for me."
No,
Right?
Like,
Do you remember that?
no.
Say hello to
It's
your
the line
mother.
where he says no.
No, but in
Yeah,
Pain
yeah.
and Gain, he's
Bro,
like,
Pain
"Say
and
hello
Games
to-"
fires. Like, I
That's a
like
good
it.
movie.
It's a good movie.
All right. Brad, we have Luke saying
How to fuck
practical effects of the zombie hordes in the movie, but I don't know what he's referring to.
Oh, yeah, I Am Legend.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I am legend.
right. Yeah. Anyway, Brad, who wins?
All right, I'm gonna have to go with Gabe. I feel like his explanation was the best. with a close second being Formal. I feel like Formal had the best reasoning, but I feel like Gabe just drove home the point a little more. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Gabe.
All right, we have a lot of literal players today. Literal players. That's what I'm gathering here. So let's go. Gabe, you get to pick the category.
Okay. Let's do a best horror franchise.
Ooh. All right. Who's up next?
Formal.
All right. So how I'm gonna go about this is looking at like when it comes to just a successful amount of movies. Because here's the thing: we've had a bunch of the horror movies that we've mentioned is that they have good one and then they kind of teeter off as they keep going because they just try to keep on trying to outdo themselves, right? So I mean, here's the thing: It and It Chapter 2. Those two movies, whether or not I will admit that It Chapter 2 was a little bit disappointing, but here's the thing about it. It's still a successful movie. The first one, really, really good. The second one is still good, but just not as good. But that is a successful franchise. Even though it's only two movies, it's still a franchise. And I mean, that's a successful 2 for 2 pretty much. And I don't know what other definition of successful there is.
All right. Who's up next?
Ryan.
All right, let's get it. So obviously, I'm gonna say the Saw franchise. You guys can say whatever you guys want about the Saw movies, torture porn, whatever. Gabe, I know you hate it, but listen to me real quick. You know what I gotta say to that? The news broke that the franchise as a whole has broken over $1 billion with only a total paid gain of 97 in total between 9 films. So if it takes 9 films with only $97 million altogether to reach $1+ billion, I think it did its job correctly. Now, depending on how your gripe is, if you look a little bit more into the story details, regardless of how you feel about certain characters and their aspects, everything's more inclusive and intertwined than you'd originally thought. I've watched hours and hours of videos of each film connecting to one another, and the amount of detail goes down to the paper written within the movie with characters explaining what happened to the ones in the first one compared to the ones that happened in the 7th one. And yeah, there.
All right. Time is up. Who's next, Gabe?
Christopher.
Who's Christopher? I don't know who that is.
I do.
All right, I'm gonna also go in left field like my man Formal. I'm gonna go. It might be a surprise since it has a sequel. Let's do this. The Shining franchise featured an amazing sequel in Doctor Sleep. It was incredible. It did poorly in the box office. However, similar to The Shining, it's already got a third one, script ready, name ready, ready to drop. The Shining is the single most gripping 2.5 hours of horror ever. And it was revolutionary for his visuals and his camera work. So many, really, truly come from this film. You look at Jordan Peele, so many of his history comes from this, the quote, modern master of horror. So it has one of the best endings of all time, The Shining, of like, what did I even watch in The Shining? So I'm going to go The Shining franchise, Doctor Sleep, which has a potential of a third movie coming out. All right.
Brad, right? I think it's only Brad left.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right, best for last. So I'm going to go with the Halloween franchise. It's had an extensive box office run. I don't know of another horror movie that has made a movie in 5 different decades. So that's pretty impressive in itself. So they made one in the 70s, they made one in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and then now they're going to make 2 more. And the newest movie is technically going to come out in 2020. So that'll be 6 different decades. I just think the run that this franchise has had is insane. And also the latest movie is one of the most successful in terms of box office numbers because it opened with $76 million on its opening weekend, and it grossed over $250 million. So I don't know, the franchise was made 43 years ago, I believe. And I mean, it's still making millions and millions of dollars. So, I mean, I think that's pretty successful.
All right. Who goes first? Rebuttal, Gabe.
Formal.
All right. So we have Halloween from Brad. We have Ryan with Saw. And we have Formal. What's your franchise?
It.
It. All right, go.
All right, so here's the thing with Halloween. Like I said, the original movie, and then they kind of teeter off. Halloween 3 doesn't even have Michael Myers in it. That movie is atrocious. Okay, The Shining, as good as that movie is, Stephen King, the original writer, did not like that movie. So that's it. And again, Saw, similarly to Halloween, it has a decent premise from the beginning, but then it teeters off. Whereas even Stephen King, the original author, liked that movie, which is why it takes it over The Shining.
Nice. Who's up next, kid?
Ryan.
Brad literally chose a franchise. You put the most recent film under the most disappointing in this list. So why would you even choose Halloween? Second of all, Deebs and my man Formal put 2 films. And bro, they're not even franchises. They don't even extend past those 2 movies. They're just 2 films that stand back to back with one another. And the book was completely different from the 2 films that came past it with The Shining. So is it really a franchise at the end of the day? That's what you have to ask yourself, Gabe. I love the cynical laugh. It's so funny.
Mr. Crockpot.
All right, first of all, it was a franchise. The book was actually pretty close. They just changed the ending a little bit for Dr. Sleep. The Shining is terrific. The Dr. Sleep is terrific. Halloween is amazing, but no one remembers it after the first movie. And that's all you have to really decide for yourself is pick the movie that scares you the most. The Shining, Dr. Sleep, taking lives out of kids, absolutely terrifying. Definitely The Shining franchise.
Brad, right? Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I think you got to go with longevity here.
Hold on
I
a second,
mean,
hold on a second.
what? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I think you got to go with longevity here. I mean, what other franchise has made a movie in 6 different decades? I mean, that's just insane. People obviously want to see Michael Myers. It's one of the most successful franchises of all time, and they get people in the seats, which is the whole goal of being a movie. So how can it not be the best movie franchise of all time? Or best horror movie franchise of all time?
All right.
I'm very disappointed. Like, the question was not most successful horror franchise, and 3 of you, all you did was talk about success. Only 1 of you talked about quality, and that was Dives. Even though I wholeheartedly disagree, like Dr. Sleep sucks.
What?
But like, yes,
I didn't talk about success.
I completely disagree. But all of you talked about like the 1 billion thing, the 20 movies thing. What was yours? It, yes. Also, yeah, Formal. You also admitted the second one sucks.
I didn't say it sucked. I said it was.
You said it wasn't
I didn't
good.
say it sucked. I said it wasn't as good. There's a difference.
You're like, yeah, it's not good, but you know, it's not too bad, and you made some money.
I wasn't saying I made money. I didn't say anything about money.
Dives.
For real. I mean, all right, I'll take the W. I'm not going to complain. I don't think I've ever met someone that didn't like Dr. Sleep. So,
I mean, the first act is like an hour long. The rest is overly.
I mean, he likes The Happening. What can you expect, bro?
Troll 2. Here we go.
That's
Oh, boy.
different.
All right. Next up, we are going to go with most overrated horror movie. Overrated. And we are going to lead off with Gabe. You're up, man.
Saw. People always talk about Saw 1. It's barely horror. It's like a wannabe 7, but with only more death and gore. But it's not really as gory as you watch the first Saw again. It's not really as gory as you think it is. Like, the sequels got gorier, but the first one is they couldn't afford it. So they have like, you know, like some strawberry jam somewhere, but like it's not really that horror, that gory. The performances, you can tell that they were rehearsing. So they kind of like make mistakes and flub their lines and kind of like, you know, and they got some good actors like Danny Glover does his best. But other than that, there's this cop story that's a completely, it feels like it was shot like everything in the bathroom, and they were like, okay, we need to make this at least 90 minutes. So they inserted all this crap about the cops and about the past murders, and it's a mess of a movie that just, you feel good after it ends because it got a great twist ending. But other than that, the movie's pretty, I mean, set up and twist ending, but everything in between just doesn't work. Right. Sorry, Ryan.
Bro, Gabe was just waiting for that category to come up. I know he was. I know he was waiting for that to come up.
All right, let's go to Brad. You're up, Brad.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna go with Paranormal Activity because I really wasn't a fan of that whole franchise. Honestly, I have no idea how they made an entire franchise off of that premise. Like somebody else said earlier, I mean, all the movies, they're predictable. It's just all predicated based off jump scares, which I think it's a really played out form of making a horror movie. And I have no clue how people enjoy those movies. I haven't enjoyed a single one, and I honestly think the first one is just incredibly overrated, and it should not have spawned an entire franchise.
All right. We have this comment. In my opinion, The Conjuring is the most overrated movie. Wow.
The universe sucks. I'll admit.
Oh my God.
The two Conjuring movies I like.
Ryan, I'm the judge. I recommend you shut your fucking face. Marmo, you're up.
All right, so I'm gonna say the Scream movie. All it is basically is just a parody of all the slasher type movies that came before it. That's all it is. And then all it does is do those exact same things once again. Yeah, it's very meta. Yeah, it's all that, but then it just does it anyway. So what's the point of it? Honestly, the only thing that's iconic about it is the scream face, but that's not even that's not even from the movie. That's from a famous painting. So honestly, that's why it's so overrated. I honestly watched this movie last Halloween. It was honestly boring for me. I just can't really find a way to rewatch this, and how that movie that was a parody of other slash movies somehow then created more of them that just kept on going for however many we're at, 5 now, and then they're just recreating it with Scream. I mean, come on, it's overrated.
We have The Purge is overrated. I'll be right back. What's that from? What am I missing? I don't remember. Anyway,
I think he's
he's making the joke about the horror rules in Scream that they say that whenever you say I'll be right back
and they just
die. All right, Ryan, you're up, man.
All right, I'm gonna say Friday the 13th. I think it's a pretty lackluster horror film, if you really want to call it that. It's pretty boring because you don't see really who the killer is at all. And when I say see the killer, you don't really physically see the killer at all. The most you do is see their hand at most, and that's when they're going, doing little teenager's neck, and he barely even looks dead. He's like, oh man, I actually kind of like that when she went through the back of the throat. Hey, maybe it might be a little bit of his kink. But other than that, I don't really like the twist at the end where, it's his mother the entire time. I do not believe that older woman would be able to kill all those teenagers. Honestly, if they just stuck together and really thought about something, they really could have just fucking killed her within the first 10 minutes if you really want to think about it. But they made these teenagers so stupid to a point where it's just unbelievable and kind of unbearable at the same time. And spoiler alert, bro, it's been 40 years. That's the spoiler alert.
All right. Let's go rebuttal. Lead off, Brad.
Okay. So I'm gonna stick to my guns with the Paranormal Activity. I think it's an awful franchise. It feels like it's just a played out version of the Blair Witch Project, and they were trying to capitalize off the success of the found footage genre. And I really don't understand how those movies are successful. Yeah.
All right. Formal.
All right, so I'm gonna go with this. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street, that honestly scared you, when it comes to just going to sleep. Scream was such a overrated movie that they had to make scary movies, which then became its own franchise. That is how overrated it is. Then when it comes to Paranormal Activity, when it comes to arguing it, honestly, when it comes to unoriginal, you just use my arguments from early on in this game. So frankly, that's why I think I win, just because you just used the same arguments that I said earlier.
Love it.
All right, Gabe, you're up.
All right, so number 1, stop saying bad things about Paranormal Activity. A guy just at his house decided, I'm gonna make a scary movie here in my house with a couple of random people, and it became one of the most successful scary movies ever made. Nobody was clever enough to do it before him, so that's respect from there. Scream, I can't believe you talk shit about Scream. It's scary enough, and it's a parody, and it's clever. It's about the killer next door. It's really, really scary. And then Ryan, I don't remember what you said, but it sucked. What was it?
Damn.
What was it?
Friday the 13th.
Oh,
The
that, yeah,
first.
okay. Yeah.
Right,
I had a good
whoops,
rebuttal.
I heard
I had a good
Nightmare. I heard Nightmare on Elm Street. Whoops. Whoops.
Yeah. That's not
Ryan,
good.
Ryan,
All right.
I heard the
Paranormal
wrong
Activity
movie.
scared the shit out of everyone that went to the theater, so say it wasn't successful is a blatant lie. Scream reinvented the franchise. Like Gabe said, it really did scare people. It scared me a little bit, and Ghostface, it made one of the most iconic fucking horror villains of all time. Honestly, Gabe, fuck you. I also forgot what you said, so that's on you. And I just want to say, Friday the 13th is just boring and unfucking original.
It was Saw. You were supposed to take me down.
No, I
Oh.
can't talk shit about Saw. I'm really sorry.
No, you gotta defend it.
No, I wasn't
Alright.
gonna defend you, bro.
All right. We have Luke, this is one of my favorite categories so far. Paranormal Activity is overrated, just like Blair Witch Project. I don't know what you said, but it sucked. Line of the night. That is really funny. Jesus, I'm gonna go with Ryan here.
Yes, I'm back. I'm in the game now.
Friday the 13th is terrible. It's not good. It's not even
Yeah.
close to the upper tier of horror films and franchises. It is so cliche. It's just like it's a total race when it comes to like everything else and Friday the 13th. It's just not even remotely in the game. So I'm going Friday the 13th. I hate it. I never enjoyed it and I never got it. So
I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think the remake is better.
Yeah, I agree. I
Right?
think it goes more towards
Yeah.
the horror side.
Right.
And they
The
actually
kills are good.
They make
Yeah.
Jason.
and by the way,
actually a
and by the
third.
way, Formal Scream is everything.
Yes.
I
How
love-
dare you? How dare
How
you?
dare you
Formal.
try to put Scream in this
Shit.
category?
I do think it's overrated, but not as much as I said it was.
That is unfortunate.
All right, Ryan. you're up.
Damn, bro. I got 3 different categories here to choose from. Scariest horror movie.
What's the
Best horror
score, by
movie.
the way?
What?
What's the score?
I'm not telling you guys.
Oh God.
You know what? I really want to be sold on this one. So, coming from a horror fan, tell me your scariest horror movies. I'm gonna go with Brad first.
All right.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go with Sinister by Scott Derrickson. I think this is one of the scariest movies of all time, at least that I've seen. Maybe it's just I have a personal story. I was watching it with my friends. It was like 3 a.m. and we were in this house that was all windows. And so it freaked the crap out of us. But I think it has all the great components you want out of a horror movie. It's got a great score. It's got a compelling story. It's got a strong lead, and it has a good monster. I also think the tapes of the family being murdered, I think that really put it over the top. They made them really raw and grainy, and they also cut the soundtrack when you were listening to the tapes. So all you heard was kind of like the real ticking, and then you really heard like the noises of the family being murdered. So I think that part really put it over the top. And they actually did a scientific study that people that watched Sinister, they had the highest heart rate out of 35 movies.
Nice.
That opening scene in Sinister is just chilling,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I can't wait for Scott Derrickson's next horror film.
Yeah,
it's called
I
yeah.
just
Black-
want to say I'm so glad you picked that, Brad, because that's like the most underrated movie ever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that.
It's so good. I love Sinister. That's a great
Bro, guys, hit me with it. You know what? I'm gonna go to Gabe Barrymore over here. Come on.
Okay.
Hey, Barrymore.
Is it because I was defending Scream? Oh, okay. I'm gonna go with The Shining. I yet to see a movie that sets an atmosphere the way The Shining does. The way you feel the isolation. You feel like there's something wrong throughout the whole movie. The way it's shot, like every frame makes sense in that movie to put you there, to feel like you're this family isolated. And then you see what's scary, the scariest thing ever, your father, your family member, the person you would trust by definition, losing his mind. And he's slowly losing his mind, and it takes a while, and you're trying to not believe that this is happening to him, but it is. And then by the end, when he snaps, it doesn't feel like when Anakin turns evil. You know, it feels like, yeah, yeah, he would snap because he lost his mind. All of this like led up to that, and it's not a bloody movie. You don't need gore or violence. It's just disturbing moments, right atmosphere, and a twist in the end that just makes it all worth it. I think it's fantastic.
All right.
Okay. You know
I
what?
love how you didn't need gore for The Shining, but you shat on my clap. So anyway,
I did not. Somebody did, and I thought it was a good argument.
All right, Formal. you gotta bring the heat, bro. You gotta bring it. That's all I'm saying.
Who's up next?
Formal. Yeah.
Formal's up. All right, go ahead, Formal.
All right, so I'm gonna go with the movie that honestly added a whole new concept of what horror was, and that is The Exorcist. And this is because it legitimately just established the fact of you don't even have to be Christian to find this movie horrific. And it is arguably, like, seriously, one of the scariest movies of all time. It won multiple Academy Awards. The shots are iconic. The music is iconic. The acting is beyond phenomenal. And then the exorcism itself at the end of the movie is one of the scariest moments. And this has also two extremely iconic moments when it comes to horror stuff. You have one when Reagan walks down the stairs backwards, upside down, and then when her head turns around. This is so iconic and honestly scary that I have only watched this movie maybe 3 times, and then that's it. That is how scary this movie is, and I haven't watched it again since.
Nice. Well done.
Man,
Well
I'm
done.
glad I picked this category. Shit. Anyway, Mr. Diebler, come on, bring it
Yeah,
on for us.
I'm glad you're all. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are all picking movies that are like fun for that group of people. But the scariest movie of all time, pound for pound, is 100% Jaws. It's a nature-based monster movie. It is got those elements of a slasher movie, but why is Jaws the scariest movie of all time? It's the ones that make you think that they could have actually happened. That's what's always most scary in a horror movie. You look at Jaws and why it was so important, because what you don't see is always scary than what you do see. All the torture porn, everything in front of you. Jaws was so scary because who doesn't love going to the beach and swimming in the ocean? Jaws could be right there, not a 25-foot Bruce, but it could be something right below you, right there, and it killed sharks for years after it, and no one else went to the beach for years.
Wow. Okay, this is a big topic, but Deebs, I'm sorry, man, but Jaws is not a horror film.
Wait, rebuttal.
Wait, rebuttal.
I forgot about that. I was so excited to talk about these, bro.
That was fucking
But
funny.
anyway, Deebs, you have your chance to rebuke.
Jaws is a horror movie because what is the definition of horror? It changes your line of thinking. You look at the deaths of sharks over the next 3 years, over 50% of the sharks over the East Coast seaboard were killed. Literally, sharks were killed because of this movie. Poor little Brucey sharks from Finding Nemo. Ryan, what is more scary than a horror movie? The ones that makes you actually go out and fucking kill a poor innocent little shark.
Wait, did I hear Finding
Damn.
Nemo at some point in there?
Dude,
You said something about Nemo, right?
Deep went there. Deep went there, man. You definitely put yourself back on the board by going that dark. I give you credit for that. Holy fucking shit. Okay.
Gabe, what did
Wow.
you say again?
Gabe said
Shining.
said
Shining.
Shining.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna go to you, Gabe. Rebuke.
Okay, well, Jaws is a horror movie, yes, but also the second half is all about adventure and being in the sea. And then when you get the mechanical shark, it doesn't work as well as it did in the first half. I love the movie, but it's not perfect. The Exorcist, if you're not Catholic and you realize that it's all epilepsy or dementia or something what the girl is going through, you're kind of like, eh. And then Brad said a movie that's not that scary that I can't remember.
Sinister.
Oh, Sinister! It is Stand the Taste of Time. Nobody talks about Sinister anymore.
Wow, you guys have really given me a lot to think about here. Let's go to you, Brad. What about you? Rebuked.
I mean, I don't see how you think that Sinister isn't scary. It uses the score to really terrify the audience. You have a great monster in the Bagul, and those children are just so creepy. I think anytime you put children into a horror movie and like make them kind of like one of the villains, I think you're doing the right thing, because children, they were just so damn creepy. So I don't see how you didn't think it was scary.
All right.
All right, Formal, bring it home.
All right, so here's the thing. When it comes to so real that it happened, The Exorcist did that first. That's how scary this movie is. When it comes to The Shining, I mean, again, Stephen King didn't even think that that was a good representation of his book. And then Sinister, I mean, come on, like the kids in The Shining were scarier than those kids. And again, when it comes to The Exorcist, you don't have to be religious to be scared of it. I'm not that religious, and I was scared of it.
All right.
Wow. Honestly, I've got so many thoughts. You know what, Gabe? Guys, quote me on this. The Shining is overrated.
Oh my
I'm gonna say that right now. I like it. It's not the best in the world. It didn't scare me. And I'll say the same for Jaws. Jaws did not scare the shit out of me. Honestly, I was kind of hoping I'd ride the shark if it ever met me, but that's besides the point. And man, though, Sinister and Exorcist, I'm impressed, dude. Those are two good ones. I absolutely love Sinister and I absolutely love Exorcist. But you know what? I'm gonna go Exorcist on this one. Man. I'm gonna go Exorcist on it, dude. I think the makeup really brings it home for me. I think the makeup on the little girl's face is fucking horrifying, especially when they twist her neck around and she throws up all over the place. So
look at Chris's comment. I think it's a good response to you, Ryan.
Damn, bro.
Those poor baby sharks that Ryan doesn't give a shit about, man. Just all the baby sharks.
Right? Has anybody seen that show?
Wait, where are we at right now?
We've got best horror movie monster and most underrated horror movie left.
All right, Formal, you're up.
I'm gonna go with the most underrated horror movie. And Gabe, you go first.
Oh God, I know what I'm gonna pick, but you're not gonna like it. Fine. I mean, I guess I'm not getting this one. Halloween 3. I keep saying it. Just because Michael Myers is in it doesn't hear me out, Formal. Just leave your prejudice outside. Like it's a movie. It was creative. It has a very creepy atmosphere. It has like a very unlikely main character, and he just like puts you into the film because he's just a guy. He's a divorced dad with kind of corny with a younger woman, and it's just kind of weird. But you follow him through because he's just a person, and it sets a really good atmosphere. And for those who haven't seen it, I won't spoil the ending, but the ending is shocking. It's the best ending in the franchise. Like all the other movies just end with somebody cutting Michael's head off or something. It's just like, oh, we won, but he'll be back in the next one. And this one ends, and it's like, what the fuck just happened? It's really, really good. It got a great story. It was written by John Carpenter, who we agree is one of the best, and it's just a good movie.
Gabe, by the way, they shoot him every time and just leave his body assuming he's dead. They don't cut his head off, please.
They cut his head off in the seventh one.
Yeah, bro, that's the seventh one.
That's not canon.
And that's not canon, bro. But
no, that's true. It's not canon. It's not canon.
That's besides the point.
All right, Deebs, go.
All right, cool. I'm going. Most underrated movie is The Descent. Hands down, one of the.
You haven't hit the clock.
Oh, shit. There we go. One of the most underrated horror movies, is The Descent. It's so scary. It shook me to the core. I don't know if anyone saw this in the theater. I could still barely see it. I literally closed my eyes when I watched it with my wife for like the 5th time. It is so scary. If anybody's claustrophobic, you do not want to watch this movie. It's bleak. It's stark. It's just a masterclass in directing, and it makes not just the monsters what's so scary about it, but the cave. The cave becomes like aliens or Alien in itself. The cave becomes a monster, and it's so grim. It's so stark. It is so scary, and that's why The Descent is hands down the most underrated movie. It is a movie that I remember watching, and I just like felt depressed for like literally 3 days after watching it in the theater. If anyone hasn't seen the alternative ending, don't watch it because it is that scary.
All right, Brad.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with the new. I'm gonna go with the new Invisible Man as my most underrated horror movie. I think that Leigh Whannell really knocked this out of the park, especially when you consider that the movie was only made for $9 million, and that the guy in the Invisible Man, he was actually invisible for most of the movie. He didn't get to rely on wrapping the villain in gauze or whatever it was in the 1933 version. So he actually had to get creative with the practical effects, and he painted him green and then shot him on a green backdrop so that he could make him disappear. And then he also would wrap him in black velvet and then shoot him on a black backdrop. So he didn't have to use as much visual effects. And also the restaurant scene, that was like one of the few times in a movie theater I've ever heard like an entire audience like audibly gasp, because I don't think anyone saw that scene coming.
All right.
You know what's a great Invisible Man movie? Hollow Man. Did anybody see
I
Hollow
like it
Man?
with Kevin Bacon, right? Dude,
Good movie.
It's good. It's good.
Good movie. Yeah.
All right. Ryan, go.
All right, I'm gonna say The Void. The Void takes a place within a small town in a sheriff's unit, and the entire place kind of get ransacked by this Ku Klux Klan type people. I don't really know what to call them. They don't really give them a name. But then as they get closer and closer to the police station trying to get this person that escaped them, more sinister things come awry. It's more of a mix of the Exorcist type of horror with more of the alien sophistication. By the end of the film, you're left in awe. Not only is it made for like $5 million, but with those $5 million, it is one of the best looking horror movies with some of the best cinematography, the best directing, and really great unknown actors. And there's a reason why this is an underrated film. It's because if it's underrated, you probably haven't heard of it.
Instant classic, bro.
Yeah, bro, instant classic. Right there, Gabe. Right there.
All right. Hope we don't just like end here. Yeah. All right. So we have Gabe. What'd you pick?
Halloween 3.
The Void for Ryan. Brad, what'd you pick?
The Invisible Man.
Invisible Man. All right. Who goes up for rebuttal?
We'll just go back through. So Gabe, go first.
Okay, first, The Descent. It's probably underrated because that title sucks. Like The Descent to what? And then The Void kind of sounds like The Boy, which makes you think it's probably a prequel to My Girl. So you want to watch My Girl because of the bee, so it's more fun. And then Brad, everybody loves The Invisible Man. That is not underrated. Everybody loves that movie. Also, Formal, leave out your prejudices. I'm making arguments. Halloween 3 is a great movie. No slasher does not mean bad movie. We've talked about it here. It's like The Exorcist, but with masks and children.
All right, Deebs.
I'm not going to talk about the other three movies because they all suck. But what I'm going to talk about is The Descent. The Descent is the title is because it's not about actually going down in a cave. What's so scary about it's a group of females that are batshit crazy and have these friendships. It's about the descent of what it means to be a friend. And what happens is all of these female friends betray each other one by one. Game of Thrones style, it is cutthroat, and that is the descent, is the humans are scarier than actually the cave and the monsters.
All right, Brad.
Life defining.
Okay, so I believe that The Invisible Man is still underrated because of the effects work that took place and because of how he utilized his budget. Because every time I talk to somebody about that movie, they really don't know what the effects that went into that movie. And I just think that makes it, I mean, I wouldn't say a masterpiece, but I think it's pretty damn close just because he utilized a lot of negative space. So you kind of had to guess where the Invisible Man is going to be. And most times you guessed wrong. So I think it's still underrated.
All right.
All right, right.
if Gabe was the only person to ever like Halloween 3, it's not underrated. That just makes it a bad movie. The Invisible Man literally just got Oscar praise. People are crying for this film to be in the Oscars. So if it's underrated, that would not be happening. And The Descent seems like it has a really big following on Twitter. Every other week, or at least all around Halloween, I see nobody shut the fuck up about this film. And honestly, it's quite annoying because I wish I got stuck in those caves.
All
right. So I'm going to take out two of you because I don't think that they're underrated. And I say this in The Invisible Man and The Descent. I don't think that they're underrated. I think they're good. I don't think they're underrated. Now, I want to say both of y'all gave, like, I think good arguments. But I gotta be honestly, like, here's the thing. One of you guys defended your movie. The other one didn't. And then both of y'all were savage toward everyone else. So that's one of the biggest reasons. But here's the thing. Gabe, you won me over. So I'm not saying that movie's good or really honestly underrated, but based on the arguments,
Yes.
Gabe wins that one.
All right,
This is going into the history books. Also, I'm happy you couldn't tell I had never seen either The Descent or The Void, so I just made some shit up.
Bro, no one's seen The Void. Nobody's seen The Void. But definitely recommend it, dude. It's a really good horror movie.
All right, let's wrap it up. By the way, I'm definitely like taking mental notes on how everyone plays. It's like apples to apples. Like clearly, we have a lot of literal thinkers here. I will be right there. So anyway, let's wrap it up. Gabe, final thoughts. Where can we find you, man?
Wait, don't we have one more category?
No, that's it. Gabe won.
Oh.
No, I won. Well,
you won.
You had
I
three,
thought there
right?
was one more category. Yeah. So this is
three.
how it goes. Me and Gabe both had one. Me and Deebs both had 1 point. Brad and Formal both had 2. Gabe had 3.
me with Halloween 3 out of all the movies.
All right, Gabe.
Yeah.
Give us like a minute. Like you know, who do you want to thank? Here's your trophy. Your time's yours.
I'd like to thank some guy whose name I don't know that directed Halloween 3 because he took on a movie in a franchise that had nothing to do with it, and he just got creative. It doesn't feel like it's outside of the sort of vibe and atmosphere of the first two, even though it's completely different, so it works well. I would encourage you to watch it again. Do that instead of watching Dr. Sleep. I'm happy somebody mentioned Sinister. I feel like that movie, it's not on my mind as much as it should be because it's fucking horrifying.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Brad. I mean, I don't think it has stood the test of time. I don't know why. People don't talk about it as much. People talk about The Conjuring more or talk about other films, and it's weird because it's really, really scary. Better than most horror movies that we've had the last few years. And I would also like to thank Ryan for not crapping on my arguments about why Saw is overrated. And
It's coming, don't worry.
I was making shit up. And you can find me at Film Opinionitis and social media and my site, filmopinionitis.com. I also have a show right here in the Painted Lines called Cynic Section. And Monday, I believe we're going to have both Ryan and Formal join us to talk about The Last Starfighter and a piece of crap called Army of the Dead. See you then.
Oh, God.
I'm going there to defend the movie.
Yeah. I watched it. I was not a big fan. All right, Brad, you're up, man. Where can we find you? Any final thoughts?
So you can find me. I'm Brad Eagles 27 on Twitter. That's really the only social media I use. And then we also have IT Multiverse on Twitter. That's Inside the Multiverse. That's where you can find me, Carlos, and Matt. And we talk about comic books, nerdy shit, whatever you can think of. And I just really appreciate you guys for having me on. I think you guys had a really good discussion. and you guys had some really great movies, and I'd be happy to join you guys again.
Thank you, sir. Formal, you're up, bro.
Yeah, you can find me on pretty much every social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's all the same at the Formal Review. Yeah, pretty much it. Do podcast. You can listen to that. Talk about my thoughts on movies, plus a bunch of other stuff.
Ryan.
You guys already know where to find me, homies, on the Suit Up Geek Fix with my boy, Mr. Crockpot, Loretto, and AJ, bro. It's a blast doing all of our shows on the channel with them and stuff like that. You guys can always follow me, Just Ryan, again, and check out my podcast at the Backroom Podcast. Blast, take a guest, chill, relax, have a beer, talk about a movie, you know.
All right. So thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll be back next week. I'm not sure what the theme we'll be doing. We'll have to figure that out. But anyway, for Gabe, for Ryan, for Formal, for Brad, thank you, everyone, for watching. Stay awesome, guys.